Right, well, hello, and I'm Simon.
And I'm Peter.
And we're here again, this time telling you a story, which is always exciting, having stories. I love stories. Do you like stories?
I love stories.
Stories are good. Stories make me cry, make me laugh, and make me fall asleep. But this story is from the Bible.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah, and this story is about a man called...
Sponge!
Sponge. Yeah. So this story about the man called Sponge, one of my favourite stories in the Bible, actually. I love this story. Really good story. What happens is, this man called Mr.
Sponge!
Mr. Sponge, is friends with God, and one day God speaks to him and says, "Hey, Mr.
Sponge!
All the people on the earth are being naughty. Naughty! Very naughty. And he said, I'm going to flood the earth." So Mr.
Sponge!
said, okay. And so God asked Mr.
Sponge!
to build a great big...
Sponge!
Yeah. And to fill it with 2 of every...
Sponge!
Yeah. So he did this. He built this great big...
Sponge!
Filled it with 2 of every...
Sponge!
With his 3...
Sponges!
And their 3...
Sponges!
And his beautiful missus...
Sponge!
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm trying to tell a story.
Okay.
Anyway, so he's built this great big thing...
Sponge!
Full of lots of...
Sponges!
Sponges. And then all of a sudden he closes the door and it starts to...
Sponging!
Starts sponging. Starts sponging. So he's in this great big...
Sponge!
For 40...
Sponges!
And 40...
Sponges!
You're a bit weird, you know that? I'm trying to tell a story and you're just talking about sponges. Strange little man. Anyway, so he's in this for all these days, and at the end of those days he opens a window and grabs a beautiful...
Sponge!
And says, "Fly, beautiful...
Sponge!"
Okay, now listen, I'm trying to tell a story to these lovely people here, and all you've said throughout the whole story is sponge. Why?
There is a sponge on your back.
That is a silly, ridiculous thing I've heard in my life.
There is a sponge on your back.
There is not a sponge. Why would I have a sponge on my back?
Is.
There isn't.
Is.
There is not a sponge.
Is.
No.
Is.
No.
Is.
Do you think I would have a sponge on my back and then to sit here and talk on video?
Yep.
No.
Why don't you stand up and show them on the back? Turn around.
I'm not
Turn
gonna
around.
stand
Turn
up.
around. Turn around. Show them. Go on.
Okay. There is no sponge on my back.
There is sponge on your back.
There is no sponge on my back. See? Oh. There is no sponge on my back.
There is sponge on
You're
your
just being very silly. There is no sponge on my back.
No.
No, there isn't.
No.
There is not.
No.
I am a wise, respected man, and I know I would never wear a
Shall I
sponge
just show
on
you
my
a
back.
sponge on your back?
I walked to work today.
No, there's a sponge on your
People
back.
would have said, "Oh look, a man with a sponge on his back." They didn't. No.
Can I show you?
You make it for yourself. There is a sponge on my back. See? Do you see this? Why? How?
You didn't listen.
Did you? Who put this on my back? Did you do this?
Maybe.
Why did you put sponge on my back? It's great. Why didn't you tell me I had a sponge on my back all this time?
I did. I didn't stop telling you.
I
kept saying sponge. Telling you there was a sponge on your back.
So while I was telling the story, you were saying sponge because there was, in fact, a sponge on my back.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there we are. I had a sponge on my back. Marvellous. Well, it's about the story, actually, because the story was about a man called Noah. And Noah was an old man, but he listened to God. Didn't matter what anyone else said, he listened. Unlike me, when I was focused on this story, I didn't hear anything Peter said when he was in fact telling me I had a sponge on my back. But Noah was a good man. He listened to God and he trusted God. And that's the great thing about God. If we listen to him, he'll tell us stuff. And if we trust him, he'll help us. And it's this great verse of the Bible.
My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me.
Okay.
I give them eternal life and they will never perish. No one can snatch them away from me. John 10, verses 27 and 28.
So remember, listen to God, spend time with him, and trust him in all things, and he will see you through good times and difficult times. And meanwhile, you still have a sponge on your back. Well, it's on your chest now, and there we are. So it's nice to see you, and we will see you soon, I'm sure. God bless. I'm gonna go now.